So this is towards the end of today's conference. You know, great time always flies, but the memories do stay. Earlier today, our college dean, Professor Chen, mentioned about young people are swift and how quickly they can make a 3-minute video clip. So I consider myself a young person. If not by the age, at least by the look, especially when I'm in my regular t-shirt and jeans. So just to live up to that reputation, we do have a 3-minute video clip to review the whole event in the past 1.5 days with all your participation. And after that, we'll have our chair, Professor Chen, to make the closing remarks. 请播影片。
So, what a great achievement, summarized in 3 minutes. And as the chair of the organizing committee, the most satisfying thing for me is all through the correspondence and communication with all the speakers, discussion, and the moderator, it turned out to be very successful. And all the speakers make great speech, and all the discussion raised important points. So I think the first closing remarks, congratulations for all the speakers and discussion for your effort. We learned a lot in the whole program. So just give them a big applause. But you know, what's a most dissatisfying thing for me? I forget to omit the last part, closing remark. Because, you know, at that time, I didn't know Wang Zheng will come up with this idea. If I know, I would just, you know, look at the video and close the conference, right? But I did one most difficult task for myself, almost mission impossible, right? To summarize all the great speech in a very short period of time. So I'm not going to summarize in sequence, but I capture some major point we you know, review in this conference. So I think the first point is the so-called population aging. We have to think about aging because aging has many dimensions. First is biological, because we used to use the very operational definition. Older than 65, you know, is old. However, as Michelle has pointed out, now many new scientific research indicate what we take for granted as a common phenomenon in the elder people are not necessarily should be the way in terms of biological function, because many new understanding may change this process. And for example, I give you one very quick example. In old Chinese saying, people say, you know, it's very rare to see people older than 70. And then when you got about 50, you almost have no teeth, and you have very little hair left. But now, you know, even as old as 90, you probably still have teeth and a lot of hair, right? And still dark. So I think we should be keep it open, because new research because, you know, what we have done about the elderly is because accumulation of a lot of bad habits in the past. But now we probably start from the scratch, and we got a new phenomenon. So I think biologically, this is also very important. And also, because not many people experience this, you know, old age. And so in clinical medicine, many people still keep their medical knowledge when they were medical students. So they tend to ignore. For old people, they may have very common but ignored disease, such as many skin disease, as obvious skin. But still people neglect, you know, old people can have this kind of disease. So this talk about the biological dimension of the aging. But aging also have some social dimension. And this is also very important because our social system have some very enforceable system like a retirement. And in the United States, because of the challenge to the Constitution, so now it's unconstitutional in the United States to force a faculty to retire just of reaching certain age. However, in Asia, we always set a very, you know, hard cut age. So no one can, you know, work beyond that age. So this is the social dimension. And I think we have to think about it because there's two ways to think of this. One is, as we learn how to work, we probably also have to learn how to retire, right? Because, you know, you cannot, you know, work today and then retire tomorrow. Like Professor Jia said, you know, even for young people, when they're in military, right? They exercise, they eat, but after they retire from military, they keep eating, but no exercise. And so I think people have to learn how to get along with the aging process. You have to learn, have to prepare. Otherwise, you are going to pay the price for the less preparation. So public health saying, we have to prepare for the disaster preparedness. Now we have to say aging preparedness, right? Yeah. So I think this the social dimension, and also there are cultural dimension too. Why is said cultural dimension? Because different society have different attitude toward elder people, or how elder people should look like. And let me give you one very interesting contrast through my own research. When I was in the United States, I learned that obesity always associated with depression. Okay, so when I came back to Taiwan, we did very similar research. But it turned out in the elderly people in Taiwan, if you are overweight or obese, you are less depressed. But if you have a very low BMI, you are depressed. And there are many reasons, but one explanation I can think of is because in Taiwanese culture, for an old people, if they are a little bit obese, that means they have a lot of wealth to eat good, and also in our Buddhism, if you see those the Buddha, they always look happy, obese, right? They don't hide their abdomen. And I think this kind of cultural attitude also influence people's well-being, psychologically or other aspect. So I think we have to create a new culture that encourage people to adapt with the aging process, and don't think elder people just someone who are going to receive social welfare, and elder people are just someone who need other people's help. Because now, as biologically understanding improve, and many tasks can still be performed properly by the elder people. So I think eventually the whole society have to adjust. So we may need a working system, not complete retirement, but partial. So that means after a certain age, you come to the company only 3 days, but you earn less, right? And somehow the pension system adjusts. So then we young people won't complain. All the slots are occupied by the elder people, but elder people still can contribute their wisdom or their experience to the industry. So I think it's a very complicated process. But who is the best one to figure out the system? I think the public health people should be the best candidate, right? Because we are trained to be multidisciplinary, and we also got the skill how to listen to different stakeholders and try to integrate. So the lesson for today is we have a lot to do in the future. So we don't have to worry about we lose our educational job. That's the good news. But also the burden is very heavy. So I think we should keep this partnership together and try to learn from each other, and then we can build, or to help the world build a better system that can cope with the aging. So I hope through this closing remark, people attend this conference can get a new concept about the aging, and then try to create a new education system to help the whole society to cope with. So with this, I thank you for your participation. Thank you.
as the moderator for the whole event, and also as a faculty member in the college. I would like to selfishly steal 2 minutes just to share with you about my learning from the KP Chen lecture. Yesterday morning was difficult. When I was up ready to prepare for the conference, I happened to read about a news describing the ongoing famine in Yemen, showing pictures of starved children dying on the hospital beds. I know we're talking about the aging society, but they don't contradict because they are both vulnerable populations. And then I was thinking in this room, all this comfortable life that we have, many of us have never questioned it because it was like we were born with it. The food, the environment, the healthcare. But for many people in this world, and also in some regions in Taiwan, this has to be given. And it can be easily taken away. So what I'm trying to say is to echo to Dean Williams' message earlier today, that the resources, the education that we receive have to be given to make it complete. So this comfortable life that we have is not to be protected. Instead, it is to be expanded to help the people in need. As a public health practitioner and believer, make it your choice, but not another option. And this is the same inspiration that I received from today's lecture. Before we officially close the ceremony, I would like to express my most sincere appreciation to the staff members. Many of them are the most helpful and kind people I have ever met, especially for those who voluntarily came to help over the weekend and help us achieve a successful event so we can provide a platform for experts to channel the energy from around the world. Without you, the staff members, this will never, well, as a scientist, we never say never. So without you and without them, this event would have still happened, but it would not have been as good as it is now. So thank you, everyone, our distinguished guests, my teachers, my colleagues, friends, and students. Thank you for your participation in today's event. It is with all of us to make the first KP Chen Memorial Lecture memorable. Thank you.